Yo!
Don't give it up, Lupe. Don't give it up, Solo. Don't give it up, Nami. Don't give it up.
It's a great day here at Will to Win Gaming's YouTube channel. I am a co-host, the Keck Filet, and today I have the William Craddock. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. They know who I am. I'm always here.
Always here. Great to hear it. Today we actually bring you. It's November 2nd. We call it Ban Day. They banned everything the night before of Red. And
It's not banned yet.
well, oh yeah, it's
One
not
more
banned
week, maybe. One more week.
just yet. So before we go into the video, we're not going to talk about any of the news. I want to say we're going to both be in Texas this Saturday. So, come say hi to us. Ask us how we're doing. Tell us you hate the content, you like the content, whatever's clever. And I will be in Pasadena the week after. Just come say hi to me. I'll probably be wearing a Hawaiian shirt. So
Or ignore him completely. Just pretend he's not there.
yeah, or just be really shy and nervous. Like I didn't want to say anything.
Make a game out of it. See how people in the
Yeah.
community we can get to ignore you. Your opponents just won't even talk to you.
Oh damn, bro. Oh, that's really funny.
Think how
But
big in his head. Continue.
I do want to say this video is going to be how to beat the meta sheep, right? How to beat the meta sheep, which is now in this 4.69 meta, right? Where we're now at the post ban list, and then at some point it'll be the trial decks. So we have these 2 weeks of random tournaments, and I actually have something a little bit here for everybody to talk about. As far as the ban list goes, I'm not going to go over that. I'm sure you all have heard of it. They banned Nami, they banned Dan, they banned one of Marco, and then
You just went over it.
Yeah.
You just went over
Yeah.
it.
Well, I'm not going to go over like the whole process of everything we think about, positive, negative. That's actually on our Patreon. But what this does mean for us is we still want to win tournaments. We still want to play competitive games, right? And this is what's going on. So November today to the 9th, nothing changes. So we go to Texas. We're still playing the same format before.
Yeah. Lots of Whitebeard, lots of law. Like it's going to be all this weekend. Get your one last hurrah, right? That's what it is.
Yep. The weekend after that, Pasadena, and there's another online where you can't play trial decks, but the ban's in effect. So
Right.
things
That's
like
the only week it's going to be its own little tournament, right? Like its own little format for 1 week.
yeah, that's truly 4.5, right? That's true 4.5 meta, which is going to be interesting. Like one of the largest tournaments. What are people brewing up?
Yeah.
Right. Basically, purple's nerfed because they can't play that awesome cards, right? But was it good to begin with? I don't know.
Yeah,
and
we'll
then
find out.
from November 18th to December 8th, it's the rest of OPO 4.69, and that will be the ban in effect and the trial decks legal, which there's a lot of tournaments, like maybe like 4 or 5 tournaments with that.
Like 2 online events and then a couple in person scattered out around like LatAm and Europe or something like that.
Yeah. And then finally we have December 8th, OPO 5 comes out. There's probably some pre-release parties which will go over, right? And that should be really fun for everyone to participate in. But OPO 5 comes out and then things start cooking up, and there's a lot of regionals like at the end of December and then going into January, right?
Lots of people get to complain about an OPO5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've already seen a lot of people complain about OPO 5, right? So it's a never-ending door of complaining. So
A lot of people that are going to play are going to be the ones who are showing up to the events, right? These people generally sit at home and like to complain and watch stream.
keyboard warriors, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. Like if you're like a super competitive player, you want to. I mean, even if you don't enjoy it, you're just going to suck it up and go play, right? Because you just want to win. Like you don't care if the format's crap. Like that's just part of being in a game competitively. Some formats are going to suck.
Sure.
Like I played Magic when Affinity was a thing, and if you know what I'm talking about, if anyone's played that, like it was just so oppressive, like so overtly oppressive, and I just had to deal with it for however long it lasted. And that's what One Piece is.
How long did that last for?
It actually lasted for quite a while.
Like a
I don't
year?
think if any. No, not that long. Magic moves a little quicker than that. I think a few months.
Okay.
Like there's another thing called the Eldrazi Winter. Like it is this deck that just dominated for an entire month straight. Like it was like one term it was like 70% of the meta, something just which is way beyond what Whitebeard's done, right? Like Whitebeard's usually around 20-25%.
Of a win rate?
No, percentage of the meta. So it was
Yeah.
like a large tournament where 70% of the deck was this one deck.
Oh, understood. Yeah. That makes sense. I'm just thinking of the color red for us, but you're saying Whitebeard specifically, yeah. Because before this, there was like someone like listed a video. 64% of all decks were red before this, and 90%. Yeah, no, 64% were red, and then like 90% went to conversion to top cut. Right.
Yeah.
So
it's because Whitebeard's conversion rate was so good, right?
It was good. It was good. But now the old man's truly dead, and other decks are slightly nerfed. Just a little bit. Just a little bit, right? Or strategies are nerfed.
Yeah, a little nerfed. I just think it's going to be like what happened when Radbeam got hit. Like, I think we're going to see kind of the same meta decks, just shifting a little bit. Like, I still think Law is going to be, it'll find a way.
Yeah.
Like, life finds a way.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
So with that, where do the meta sheep go from here? And let's talk about it, I guess, in the form of without the trial decks. And even with the trial decks, you could maybe put like a note in.
I mean, for sure, a lot of people are going to flock to yellow because yellow is just like the upfront content. People think yellow is just super brain dead, just like, same about Whitebeard. It's a helmet deck. Like, they're just going to play yellow and be like, I get to win tournaments automatically. And if they lose, they're going to be like, well, it's because I didn't hit 4 triggers every turn. And even though that's not going to be the case, that's what a lot of people are just going to think for the first week or two. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like playing against yellow. When they lose to it, they blame luck. And then when they play yellow and they lose, they're going to blame luck.
Yeah.
So it's
pretty strong, right? A lot of the meta sheep are going to go to yellow because it has most of its bad matchups gone now, right?
Yeah.
Like
Law was cranking yellow. But
Law was cranking yellow. Whitebeard was doing a really good job into yellow, right?
I love playing as Katakuri.
So with that kind of gone, we might see some Law, but with that, the thing is, not everyone's going to show up to a tournament playing Katakuri. Not all 500 people are going to do that. There's reasons, it costs a lot of money to actually build Katakuri,
especially now.
And people don't want to play the mirror.
Yeah.
So there's 2 reasons not to play Katakuri. So you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're probably not going to fight. If you're not wanting to play Katakuri because it is really strong, what should you be playing in hopes of playing against Katakuri, or what else is left?
I think a lot of people who are going to play Katakuri because of pricing are might going to flock to things like Film Kid, because you can build Film Kid extremely cheap. I don't think Bardo is super necessary. It just makes your searches a little smoother. But other than that, I don't think it's like, oh my god, if I don't have Bardo, I can't play this deck. And it makes the deck like, I don't know, $40 or something like that, right? You cannot Bardo the deck like
$70 or less.
Yeah, it's super cheap.
Super duper cheap.
This deck just kind of, it's fairly consistent, and you have the Kid leader ability, which is still just one of the best leader abilities in the game. Like it's the color that revolves around him that's not strong. But Kid's leader ability is incredible.
Yeah.
So I think Kid will be really strong on the first week for sure.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. With the other contenders that we had before this, because there was, I want to say Queen.
Yeah.
And then Grape Doffy.
Absolutely.
Or green, purple, Gurple, whatever you want to call it.
Right? No, it's great.
Yeah, we call it great.
Channel, it's great.
Yeah.
I think these decks obviously. So Queen, was kind of a Whitebeard killer. It lost a good matchup, but also lost a bad matchup in Law.
Yeah.
Or at least Law is less prevalent. My only problem with Queen is that even the best Queen players, I never heard them say like, "Yeah, I have a good matchup in yellow," because I just don't think that'd be true if they said it right. Like on paper, Queen I don't think is great against yellow, which will be super prevalent, like we're talking about in the first week or two. But Otherwise, I think Queen's strong. Like
Yeah.
it just you may have to switch some numbers around to make it better into yellow now that Whitebeard's gone and Law's
Yeah.
gone. Maybe you can tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. One thing with Queen, if you're able to Katakuri the opponent's Katakuri, that's actually super worth it because there's no really other way to remove it.
Right.
So maybe
Well,
playing more Katakuris would be an answer.
yeah,
So.
and you can maybe like go down on your 3,000 worlds and up your red rocks because if the format's like slower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I play 4 and 4 already, but you know it's
okay. Well,
yeah,
it doesn't help you, but not everyone does that.
Oh,
so.
yeah, you're right. So definitely max out those if you weren't already. But I mean, Holden Miller has a whole thing on this on our Patreon. He'll be cooking a lot with this too. So, Grape Doffy, we didn't have a lot of great opinions about this. It did just recently win a regional. I think Wraith Talks made a really good. I don't know if you watched the interview that he had. He made a really good argument saying that yeah, you have to see the right thing. I think he represented it well, right? He wasn't overrepresenting, saying it's the best deck ever created. So
right, a lot of people ask me about it because I have strong opinions on Grape Doffy, and I told him like he's obviously a good player. Every time I fired up the stream, he had like 2 drops in play. Right, like he saw the right cards, and he's a good player. It's the perfect mix for him to win a tournament. But there's a reason you've never gone on Facebook and seen, ban Grape Doffy because it's too oppressive, right? Like there's just a reason for that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The thing is, I always make this joke too. A lot of people, they'd be like brand new to the game, some dad, and then they'll switch to Whitebeard, and then they'll post, "Oh wow, I started winning my locals," just like average or below average player, in my opinion, right? They just had that thought, but
and the thing is that was like one of the great things about Whitebeard. Like, sure, like it's just powerful and you can do powerful things, but it also, these people are like, yeah, this guy just picked up Whitebeard and want to win a case of my locals. I'm like, that really doesn't mean anything because your locals could just be a bunch of dingle hoppers, right?
Right. But at least didn't lose like 3 or 4 games in a row, right? So that's the importance of it. But no one's ever gone out and said like, "Hey, I played Grape Doffy, that changed my whole shtick," right? So that's
like I like Grape Doffy because it does give you a lot of control over your game, but for the most part, its matchup spread's just kind of like okay against everything, right? It doesn't really crush anything, doesn't really lose anything except maybe yellow and the next deck we're going to talk about.
Yep, go ahead.
I was talking about this earlier. I think Nami is the new law in the sense that this is the deck that's going to gatekeep the format, because its matchups are so polarizing, right? Like against the slow decks, Nami just demolishes the slow decks. Like that, it should for the most part. Unless you get unlucky, you're realistically just going to smash the slow decks. Like if they can't pressure you, like I don't think you spelled polarizing right.
Yep, that's like polarizing. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's a gatekeeper. The format, matchups polarizing. Like you said, people are already kind of flocking to it a little bit because
as the prices indicate on a TCG player. If you haven't looked lately, it's kind of like we were talking about this earlier. I bought Zephs for like $8 each, the alternate arts, and now they're like 45 each.
Yeah,
and this wasn't long ago. This is like a month ago or something like that. Because I was gonna play it in Croc, right? So I just bought 4.
Yeah. With that, actually, I do want to go over maybe some meta sheep what they might do. We're talking about Croc, right? I mean, is this at a good spot? Like, is it at a better spot? I feel like I had a good matchup into Whitebeard, but
my biggest problem with Croc, and this I think is gonna continue to have the same issue, is it is a dice roll deck. Like Croc, more than any other deck, suffers from not being able to go first or go second. Like I feel like Whitebeard, people have this opinion, and they still do to this day. When I'm playing Whitebeard and like someone's like snap go second against me, I'm like, you obviously just don't know that Whitebeard's actually really good going first too. I mean, I know it's pick your poison, but I feel like even when I play against Croc and they're like, I'm gonna go second, I'm like, you should just still go first. Because you're not setting me off as nearly as much as you're setting yourself off.
Yeah, and the matchup into Katakuri is not easy.
It's not easy, and I think if So when I play Katakuri, I still go first against Croc because I just think their curve is just not great going second. Like I like having when I get to go first as Katakuri, I still get to control the tempo of the game, even though I'm playing against a tempo deck. Because now I'm swinging sevens as much as I want, and if I have like just a decent curve, it's really just going to throw you off.
Okay, got it. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this isn't exactly a meta sheep thing, but you'll still see laws playing and topping,
for sure.
right? I'm pretty positive of that. What are your thoughts, kind of?
I'm still looking at
this
polarizing.
Polarizing.
Yeah, I think there's an I instead of an E.
Oh, okay. I'll fix that. Okay. I'll get my Google on the line, but with law.
It's something I know. Is the A right? I don't think the A is right.
I got it. Polarizing.
All right. But anyway, okay. So I think we're gonna see like more kind of throwback to the OPO1 law. I think we'll probably see the Wayno package come back a little bit. We're gonna see like the dual green searchers that are reusable with like Momo and Bonnie. So, and I think the whole thing of law is it's just gonna be just as fast, just as powerful, but it's not gonna be near as consistent or sustaining is going to be the big one, right? Like you don't have those extra searchers that if this card dies, it just replenishes itself. You don't have those extra combos with your bounce laws, like get a second search with the Dan or Nami. So it's not going to be like super inconsistent. It's going to be about the same consistency as law kind of has always been, but But like I said, it's not sustaining the same way. Like it's just not getting as many cards as you would normally want as a law player, and that is an issue. Like that's a huge issue.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, yeah. Is there any like maybe advice for any of these maybe Magellan or purple players out there? Because there is talks of that too, since bad matchups are gone in a way.
Yeah, for the purple players, I'd just wait another week. I'd wait for the starter deck because I do think. While I don't think I think the kid is really strong, the 7-drop kid that makes you Whitebeard, and while I don't think the law is like up front super strong, I think just the threat of it, right? The one that has Isho's effect base, they have 7 more cards, make them discard 2 at random. It's really the threat. Like your opponent will have to play differently because me, I like to play big handed. I like having 10 cards in my hand and no life, but now I'm gonna have to rethink that because I just don't want to get. Lose 2 cards at random.
Yeah, exactly. They could not even be playing it, but you have to respect it now, right? So,
right, like 100%. Like I just think that is what it is, right? So I'd probably wait one more week if I was purple player, but I've been cooking with Blurple Kaido. I've been cooking with Purple Kaido. Magellan's the last on my list of purple decks I want to try out, but I like that. I just wait for the ST10 to come.
Yeah. If I could throw this in here too, obviously I'm super biased toward Blue Doflamingo, right?
Hey, I mean, when you met me, I was a Blue Doffy player too.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's good deck, right? Everyone knows this deck. This leader's really good, and it's really good at one thing: going wide and having tempo. Yeah. So you might see this do well. I know that this does well against Katakuri if you play it right, and you actually need some sort of guide to play this right. And I do want to say on our Patreon, we do have a guide on how to play Doflamingo, made by me, right? Into Katakuri, because this is actually a hard matchup if you don't know the right steps. Because
and even then, like I don't think it's like so. Doffy, the coolest thing about Doffy is like it had a lot of good matchups. Like into the top decks, like Zoro, like Doffy just smacked on Zoro. It was decent against Whitebeard. I wouldn't say it was great against Whitebeard, but I'd say it was decent. And it got smushed by Law, which for the most part we might see just kind of disappear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like it's okay in the yellow. I think I think it's going to take most yellow players by surprise. I don't think they're going to know how to play into a Doffy. Some are just going to be like, he, Thunderbolt, kill your guy, and you're going to lose. But
I think that's one of the bigger things here. The bigger thing here is surprise, and these players have to now switch, and now they don't know how to play against whatever, right?
And that's go ahead.
Oh yeah, it's a Katakuri versus Katakuri, like things like that, right?
And that's one of the big things. Like I feel like people like Impact, Josh, who's on our team, and you and me, like we play these same decks every week. but people don't realize how much time we put in also playing other decks off tournament, right? Like we want to know these matchups inside and out just in case stuff like this happens. And I think you're really going to see, you know, I've been all over Facebook this morning. You probably have too. And there's so many posts like, aha, all the red players are going to lose now. None of those red players are going to top ever again. I'm like the top players are still going to be the top players. Like you're still going to see like Eric Quintana and Chris Sock and Kevin Zhao. Like you're going to still see all those people at the top. Like they're still going to be top players. They're just going to be playing something, the new best deck, whatever that may be.
Yeah, because they're all playing the same game, right?
Yeah, they're just playing. They're just trying to play like a little above like the average person, and it's the red deck. It just happens to be the best deck, right? Like,
yeah.
If Katakuri was right now the best deck, you would see like Richard Yam with like 9 Katakuri tops instead of 9 Zoro tops, right? Like it's just red happens to be the best deck. That's just how it is.
Yeah. With that, is there any other tips you want to give specifically to people if they are trying to, beat these meta sheep or maybe be one in order to get some wins?
We always talk about the sim. I would go on and not look at the sim as practice, but I would go and play games just to see what the different decks are capable of. I wouldn't say like this is what I should do to beat this deck, but I want to see like what this deck can do if it high rolls. Like we already know what Katakuri looks like when it high rolls, but we might not see what like Magellan looks like when it high rolls, or like Blue Doffy we haven't seen in a while. Like we know because we've played it, but not everyone might know what it looks like when it high rolls. And honestly, Blue Doffy, when it has turn 1 Perona, it's going first, can be extremely oppressive. Like if you haven't played against it, like you're like, oh, I can't do anything, right?
Yeah, understood. Yeah. Oh, okay. That makes sense. So go get some practice in, maybe on the sim, maybe find some sim partners to play with specifically.
Right, just to see what decks can do. I'm not saying like play against randoms because this is good practice. Just you just want to see what the deck can do, not what necessarily your opponent playing it is doing with it.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, I don't know if there's anything else we want to involve in this video, but
we're about to go get some practice in.
Yeah, that's actually what we're gonna do. So if you also want to get some practice in, make sure you guys join us on Discord. There's a looking for game in there, and also we have our patrons. We have our specific videos that are going to be on our channel as well. But please keep in mind for that. Watch out for these videos. We have a lot of work ahead of us, essentially, to keep you guys updated and to know what we're gonna do. But
we're on the grind.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about as far as this excitement or anything you're working on, Will?
I mean, I'm looking towards Yellow and Kinemon right now. Like, I'm just excited. Like, I don't know who thinks I'm just a Whitebeard player. Like, obviously I'm not. Like, I've played so many other decks. I'm excited to maybe bust out the Kuro again. That's one a lot of people have been asking me about.
All right, sweet. Possible Kuro magic. Okay, well, again, you can always make sure you guys like the videos if you're liking them. Make sure you subscribe to Will's Patreon. And well, it's his YouTube, right? And
at least the YouTube.
Check out our Patreon if you don't want to. You check out our Discord. Our Discord's free. You can just join our Discord for free and just see what's going on. There's discussions going on there every day, and yeah, I guess again we're gonna be in Texas in 2 days, and then in next week I'll be at Pasadena, and we'll just be having fun from there. So. See you all in the next video. Ciao.
Bye, everyone.